Hello BookTube! Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and today I'd like to show you the last 5 of the Florida Sunshine State Young Reader Award finalists that I have read for the 2015-2016 school year. Most of them I read last year. I will link my videos down below of my middle grade overview and my overview of the 3rd to 5th grade books. I did individual reviews of all of the 6th to 8th grade books, and then the 3rd to 5th grade books I have divided into 3 categories. I've already read and reviewed the 3rd grade books and the 4th grade books, and so the last group are the 5th grade books. One of the books I had already read about 3 years ago. My daughter Katie read this, I believe, in about the 5th grade, and maybe 4th grade, and she really enjoyed it. And that year that she read it was, I believe, our first year that we went to the Scholastic warehouse sale up in north of Orlando, and she saw the book there and was dying to get it. She wanted to have her own copy, so we've had it, and I'm glad we have our own copy because it has some really good pie recipes in it. In fact, there's a chocolate pie recipe in here that Katie made for Thanksgiving that we took to my in-laws' house, and it was very good. So this is a good book. I did, however, have to listen to it on audio because I really wanted to get it read before the end of January, and so this was the only one of these 5 books that our library had on audio, and so I went ahead and just listened to it again so I could be reminded of the book and what happened, because I was getting it mixed up with an episode of a TV show that my daughter watched, I think about that same time, where they were trying to find some recipes that were supposed to be on the computer, and it turns out they were like taped to the back of the computer or something like that. I don't know. And so I was getting it mixed up. That's not what this is about. This is about a girl named Alice whose Aunt Polly was the pie queen of Ipswich. Alice had helped her aunt and had spent a lot of time in her aunt's pie shop, and really just they had a wonderful relationship, and her Aunt Polly passed away. So her Aunt Polly has left her recipes to Lardo. Well, Lardo is Aunt Polly's cat, and she left Lardo the cat to Alice. So now Alice is the recipient of a cat that's kind of he's not a real desirable cat to have. He's kind of mean, and and Alice's father is allergic to cats. So Alice's mother says, well, we can't keep the cat. It's just like, but Aunt Polly gave him to me, we can't just get rid of him. And so there's that controversy. But meanwhile, no one knows where the recipes are, because as far as Alice knew, they were just in Aunt Polly's head, and she did not think she had ever actually written them down. And her will specifically stated that she was willing her recipes to Lardo. So how does a cat get a hold of recipes? We don't know. That's kind of the mystery. Plus, the pie shop gets broken into, and Lardo gets stolen. So it's kind of a mystery. Alice and her friend Charlie try to solve the mystery and figure out how to get these recipes, and they try to figure out who has stolen Lardo. Now, Lardo does escape, and he's able to come back home, but they just try to figure out who it is that is trying to steal these recipes. And so it's really a cute story. I really enjoyed it, and the pie recipes make it worth getting. So if you have a 4th or 5th grader that you think would enjoy reading this book and you want to make some pies, this is a really good book to get. I also read Kizzy and Stamps by Jeri. I really enjoyed this book. This is historical fiction. It takes place in 1963. It starts out during the summer when Kizzy Ann is facing the next school year, going into the newly integrated school. And she has, up to this point, always gone to a black school, and her teacher has told her and all of her classmates that they need to write a letter to their new teacher introducing themselves. And so Kizzy does that, and her teacher writes back. So she begins kind of a pen pal relationship over the summer with her teacher, and then she enjoys it so much that she continues to write letters to her teacher in a journal all throughout the school year. So we see how things develop through the summer and the school year through Kizzy's letters to her teacher, and she describes her life and the things she's going through. There's kind of 2 storylines in this. There is the storyline of the integrated school and what is happening at school. Then there's also the storyline of Kizzy and her dog. She has a border collie dog that she is training, and she is training to be a sheep herder. There's a man from Scotland who has met her and her dog and kind of taken them under his wing, and he has been training her for a contest. The problem is she doesn't know if she's going to be able to enter because she's African American and she's a girl. And so far they have not had any African American girls who have even wanted to enter this contest. Really, it's a sweet story about what she's going through and kind of the angst of this part of her life, and it's her dealing with the different forms of opposition that she's facing going into the integrated school. She has a very racist neighbor as well, and so it's a really good book. I enjoy reading books from this time period because I was born in 1964, and it just seems crazy to me that this kind of stuff happened so close to my own lifetime, because I don't really remember this kind of thing at all. I was pretty young, and so it's very interesting to read books from this era. Another book I read in January is The Hero's Guide to Saving Your Kingdom by Christopher Healy. I think this is probably my favorite book of these 5 books. I really, really enjoyed this book, and I definitely want to continue this series. This was really fun. This is about 4 fairy tale princes that up to this point have really been nameless for all intents and purposes, and they in most fairy tales they're known as Prince Charming, but we have Prince Leon, Prince Frederick, Prince Duncan, and Prince Gustav. They are the princes who saved Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Snow White, and Rapunzel, respectively. Thanks to the minstrels and bards that told the tales, they became nameless. And in all the tales, didn't get any personal named credit for doing what they did to save the princesses. And so it turns out, though, that in a lot of their situations, they really just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And they were not really the heroes that we've made them out to be all along. And at this point in their stories, some of the princesses are kind of over it with them. They have realized that the happily ever after is not so happy, and they're a little bit disgruntled with some of the activities of their so-called heroes. So these 4 band together through a series of events, and this book is about their misadventures and what they do to try to do something heroic. And it's just really cute. I loved it a lot. If you like fairy tale type books, I would definitely recommend this book. It's really super cute. I read this book early in February, and I really enjoyed it. It is about 2 stepbrothers who are very different. One of them is cool, and he's into sports, and he likes skateboarding, and he's an average student, and that is Zach. And then his stepbrother Gabe is very smart, academic. He's gifted academically, and he's described as nerdy. He does a lot of nerdy things. He's in different nerdy types of activities, and he really embraces that. And one of his favorite things to do is go to summer camp. He goes to a camp called the Summer Center for Gifted Enrichment, in other words, nerd camp, and he's looking forward to going. I'm not sure how many times he's been in the past, but he is really, really looking forward to summer so that he can go to camp and can just kind of be on the level playing field with his other, quote, nerdy friends and people that have the same similar interests as him, and not have to worry about trying to be cool, just be himself. And so then his stepbrother, who he gets along with fine, his stepbrother has never been to summer camp. So he helps kind of campaign to help get Zach's parents to let him go to a different summer camp, one that he would enjoy and would be more along the lines of, with sporting events and things like that, because Zach has never been to camp. So he finally gets permission to go to camp, and then summer comes, and they're excited about going to camp, and all of a sudden the whole area in their state has a huge amount of flooding, and they're not even sure if they're going to get to go at all. And Zach's camp gets completely flooded, and buildings are washed away and things like that, so that Zach's camp is probably going to be canceled. But Gabe's camp invites Zach's camp, which is Camp Seneca, to share their campground. So now they've split up the campground, and they have the Camp Seneca kids on one side and the gifted enrichment kids on the other side, and they have their own separate activities, but they can't help but see each other, and they have to share the dining hall and things like that. Well, you can imagine that there's going to be some nerd bashing, and there's going to be some conflicts. And so Zach and Gabe, who have gotten along previously at home, are now kind of faced with the peer pressure of what to do and how to act and react to the other group when both of their circles of friends are kind of at odds with the other side. So so that's the story of how they deal with this, and I thought it was a very good book. I enjoyed it a lot. And then the one I just finished is by Gordon Korman. I've read a couple of other Gordon Korman books that I've enjoyed. I think I liked Schooled a little better than this one. But I did enjoy this book, but it didn't blow me away. For one thing, it was really kind of dark. It is about a boy who didn't know until he was about 12 that he had hypnotic powers. He finds out that he does have a family history and it runs in his family. And he's taken in by an institution run by a Dr. Mako, who is studying hypnotism and, you know, has everybody believing that he is using hypnotism for good when maybe he's not. Our main character, Jax, has to try to figure out what Dr. Mako is up to and try to combat against it. Because when you're dealing with hypnotism, you know, not only can you hypnotize people, but you might be able to be hypnotized yourself. And so it's very interesting. And the one thing that I thought was good about this is it kind of makes you think, because, you know, we don't really know if this kind of thing is possible. Now, this kind of goes way out into fantasy land, but, or does it? I don't know. Is this kind of thing in this book really possible? And it was very dark. The things that our villain was trying to do were, you know, were scary if you think about it. And so I thought it was good, but I don't know, a kid much younger than 5th grade probably might get a little disturbed by this if they really thought about it. So, you know, I think, you know, 5th grade and up is probably fine, but it's definitely thought-provoking. It's a darker book than a lot of middle grade books that I have read. But, I mean, overall, I did give it 4 stars. I thought it was very well written and a very interesting story. So I would recommend it definitely for 5th grade and up. So these are the 5 Sunshine State Young Reader Award finalists that are listed at a 5th grade reading level. Now, where I look up reading levels is on the Accelerated Reader website, and if you look on that website, you can look up just about any children's book, really about any book, and see what book level it is considered to be. So these all have a 5-point something book level rating, and so that is why I grouped them into this bunch. And if you are from Florida, or if you don't know anything about the Florida Sunshine State Young Readers, these books are nominated each year, and then they become a recommended reading list for students in Florida. There is a 3rd to 5th grade list, which is where these came from, and then a 6th to 8th grade list. And then students are encouraged to read these books all year, and then at the end of the school year, if they have read at least 3 of them, then they can vote. And one winner from 3rd to 5th grade and one winner from 6th to 8th grade will be chosen, and that book will become the Florida Young Reader Award winner for the year. So you can look up, if you Google Florida Sunshine State Young Reader or SSYRA or Sunshine State Books, you can get a list of all the books, and I will also link my videos down below, my overview videos that I have done for this year's books. And I'm not sure how long this program has been going on. I know it has been going on for several years, and so it's a really good way to find out what some of the top middle grade books are, because some of the very best books are picked for this list, and the authors do have to be from the United States to qualify for this nomination and award. That is the end of my Sunshine State books for 2015-2016. I'm excited that I have read all 30, and as of right now, I'm planning to read all 30 of the books for 2016-2017. I think those are going to be announced in April or May, and since I believe there is a booktube challenge called Middle Grade May, I will probably pick that time to go ahead and get started on some of next year's books. And that way, when I'm volunteering at the school library, I know some good books that I can recommend to the students. So I guess that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.